exactly. Okay, so you can see my screen now. We are looking at the last unit, consideration of laws and regulations in an audit of financial statements, which is International Standards on Auditing 250. So that's the standard we are looking at, very essential standard that is very, very examinable. Then we review the chapter and we end this this chapter 2, this module 2 of the study text. So we're looking at consideration of laws. So we have two quizzes which will be featured in the first session: the legal environment and non-compliance by a client company, and also action by the auditor in the event of non-compliance or suspected non-compliance by a client. So we have those 2 units to look at the quizzes, and we'll end in chapter 2 very, very fast. So let's go to unit 1 or section 1, talking about ISA 250. We're looking at the laws and regulations in the audit of financial statements. In the audit of financial statements, as auditors, we are to obtain general understanding of the applicable legal and regulatory framework on how the entity is complying with that framework. So we have the legal framework, CAMA 1990, then the updated CAMA 2020, and also the applicable financial framework, the IFRS, and every other framework that is issued by the FRCN, issued by the SEC. We are supposed to ensure that our clients that we are auditing comply with these frameworks. This is part of obtaining an understanding of the entity and the environment, and also the legal environment as required by International Standards of Auditing 315. 315 talked about obtaining audit evidence. So in ensuring that they comply with the legal and applicable framework, it should be in writing, not verbal. So they have to provide the evidence of this compliance in writing. And that's what ISA 315 talked about. We are to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence in respect of compliance with laws, regulations, and every material amount that is disclosed in financial statements. So laws like taxation, remittances, laws that include statutory remittances, statutory obligations, mostly external, are to be complied with, and you should have documentary evidence for that. Also, perform the following audit procedure to help identify such instance of non-compliance. So as an auditor, you should be able to perform either compliance or substantive procedures to get sufficient evidence that these compliance have been followed or have been complied with. So you make inquiries of management as to whether not the entity is complying with relevant laws and regulations. So you ask these questions and have verbal and written evidence to their answers. Also, inspect any correspondence with the relevant authorities, whether it's a tax authority, whether it's a statutory authority. You can write to them, and during the audit, remain alert to any possibility that audit procedures might bring instances of non-compliance to your attention as the auditor. Written representations should be gotten, physical, a hard copy written representation or soft copy evidence to validate the fact that all known instances of non-compliance or suspected non-compliance has been disclosed to the auditor. Very important. Also document any identified suspected instances of non-compliance and the results of the discussions with management on remediating and resolving with the parties or the organizations involved. This is very important. So mostly regulatory remittances like taxes. We have various types: pension, PE, NSITF, NHF, withholding tax, value-added tax, company income tax. All those taxes, mostly, we need to be careful when we are auditing financial statement to ensure these taxes are being remitted as applicable to the company. So generally, it's a short section, but the legal environment and the regulatory framework of compliance is very important for auditors to take note when auditing financial statements and also an entity, and also receive written evidence that this compliance have been complied with, these areas of compliance, and any area of non-compliance, bring it to management attention, and also have written evidence for them, which is very, very important. Okay, so that's a short look at the first section on the legal environment and non-compliance by a client company. Do you have any questions? I believe it's succinct and clear. Very comprehensive. Any question? Okay, fantastic. So let's run through the quiz. Question 1. According to IAC 250, and please, by the way, don't forget, or I've not forgotten that you are not supposed to score 100. So your maximum is 80. Take note.
You can be sure it's 100 tonight.
Okay, don't think after a long break I've forgotten, so you can't keep tormenting me.
Hey, short, I can't be threatened. Watch and see.
I'm not threatening you, I'm just advising you that you shouldn't score 100 over 100.
Okay.
Because I know that's what you're targeting. I know that's what you're targeting.
I think you know.
And since the session is very short, I know you paid rap attention. So
very. And sleep has not started coming, so sleep until
so let's start now. According to ISA 250, what is one of the auditor's responsibilities regarding laws and regulations? A. Ensure the entity fully complies with all legal and regulatory requirements. 2. Report all non-compliance cases directly to regulatory authorities. 3. Obtain a general understanding of the applicable legal and regulatory framework. D. Conduct legal audits alongside financial audits. According to IAC 250, okay. Final answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Final answer.
2. All right. Number 2, what type of laws and regulations should an auditor obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence for? A. All laws applicable to the country where the entity operates. B. Laws expected to have a direct effect on material amounts and disclosures. C. Only tax laws and labor regulations. D. Only laws that result in criminal penalties. What type of laws and regulations should an auditor obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence for? A. All laws applicable to the country where the entity operates. B. Laws expected to have a direct effect on material amounts and disclosures. C. Only tax laws and labor regulations. D. Only laws that result in criminal penalties. I think this one is a bit tricky.
B. Huh? B. It's very tricky, yes, B. But you catch me, B.
All right, let's see. Okay.
Wait, so material amounts and disclosures. Wait. Right. They don't catch me. You catch me. You will not.
I know you have somebody will not score 100 over 100.
It's A. Can it be all? Can be all laws now?
Yeah, so you're changing your mind from B. Are you sure?
B is okay. Sure. B is okay. It can't be all laws applicable.
We should stay with
we start checking. We start checking for criminal law, and it's B.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Final answer.
Final answer. Yes, it can be all laws.
Okay. Number 3. Which audit procedure is not explicitly required by ISA 250 for identifying non-compliance? A. Making inquiries of management about compliance. B. Inspecting correspondence with regulatory authorities. C. Conducting forensic investigation into all transactions. D. Remaining alert to non-compliance through audit procedures. Which audit procedure is not explicitly required for ISA 250 for identifying non-compliance? A. Making inquiries of management about compliance. B. Inspecting correspondence with regulatory authorities. C, conducting forensic investigations into all transactions. D, remaining alert to non-compliance through audit procedures. I like this one too.
Remaining alert. What's remaining alert?
Remaining alert to non-compliance through audits. Well, I'm the examiner. I don't think I know.
Okay. It's A.
Making inquiries of management of prior compliance. Final answer.
Final answer.
Are you sure?
It is.
Okay. Final answer A. Number 4. Why does ISA 250 require auditors to obtain written representations from management? A, to ensure that management takes full responsibility for any instance of non-compliance. B, to legally protect the auditor from future lawsuits. C, to shift accountability for financial misstatements to regulatory bodies. D, to confirm that all known or suspected non-compliance has been disclosed. Why does ISA 250 require auditors to obtain written representations from management? A, to ensure that management takes full responsibility for any instances of non-compliance. B, to legally protect the auditor from future lawsuits. C, to shift accountability for financial misstatements to regulatory bodies. And D, to confirm that all known or suspected non-compliance has been disclosed. I think I like my questions now. They are tricky. Like them. Teaching good. Anyway, I can't teach good yet till you've seen your result.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's your pick?
A, please.
Yeah, to ensure. All right. Final answer.
Yes, final answer.
And finally, what should the auditor do if they identify or suspect non-compliance with laws and regulations? A, ignore it unless it's material to the financial statements. B, immediately resign from the audit engagement. C, document the issue and discuss it with management or other relevant parties. D, report it to the external auditor of another entity in the same industry. What should the auditor do if they identify or suspect?
C.
C. Final answer.
Yes.
C. Okay. So let's go judgment day.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right. Number 1. Judgment day. I'm already smiling. Question 1. The auditor's responsibility regarding laws and regulations. She picked A. A is wrong because the auditor does not enforce compliance. Management is responsible.
No. Hey, let us see. Wait first. What is the answer? See.
Obtain a general understanding of the applicable legal and regulatory framework. So according to ISA 250, an auditor must have a broad understanding of the legal and regulatory framework that applies to the entity.
What was the question? How can I wait? All this responsibility. What was the question first?
Okay. According to ISA 250, what is one of the auditor's responsibilities regarding laws and regulations? You said ensure the entity fully complies. No, he can't ensure that. Is to obtain a general understanding of the applicable legal and regulatory framework. So the answer is C and not A. Yes. We said it in the class now. It's to have an understanding so that he will know where they are complying or not. It's part of his responsibilities, not to ensure. So you get the point now. So the answer is C. Obtain a general understanding of the applicable legal and regulatory framework. So that's a good one. So according to ISA 250, an auditor must have a broad understanding of the legal and regulatory framework that applies to the entity. This helps in assessing compliance risks and identifying potential material misstatements due to legal issues. So A is wrong. The auditor does not enforce compliance or ensure compliance. Management is responsible for ensuring legal compliance. So you have bashed me one. Thank you. But I'm glad you never forget it again. So number 2. Okay.
Two.
But 2, she got it. Focus of evidence on laws and regulations. Correct answer is B. loss expected to have a direct effect on material amounts and disclosures. So good one. You got it. Number 3. Yes, I have this one. C. Identify non-compliance through audit procedures. So the correct answer is C. You picked A. A is not correct. Inquiry of management is a standard audit procedure used to assess.
What did I pick? What is the answer? What did I pick first?
So let's go to number 3. Which audit procedure is not explicitly required by ISA 250 for identifying non-compliance? So I'm sure it's that not that confused you. So you picked making inquiries of management about compliance. No, the answer is conducting forensic investigation into. So management will always lie. So you need to get your evidence by yourself, and that's why. I see.
So I failed how many? 2 now.
You have dashed me 2. Don't say you failed 2. You gave me 2. So I will say thank you very much. So number 4. You gave me this one too. You are so benevolent today. Thank you. Today, Julie really came for giveaway. Answer is purpose of written representations for management. So let's go back to the question. Why does ISA 2050 requires auditors to obtain written representations from management? The answer is to confirm that all known or suspected non-compliance has been disclosed. Exactly, but you picked A to ensure that management takes full responsibility for any instances of non-compliance. No, that's not the reason. So D is to confirm by obtaining written representation.
This is not a good one. This is not a good start. It has even driven away sleep from my eye. This has driven away sleep.
You are doing giveaway for me today. I'm happy. At least after a long break, you did a lot of.
This is unacceptable.
Don't get angry and go and score 100 in the next unit or the next session.
Right. This is unacceptable.
Let's look at the explanation. Obtaining written representation ensures that management formally acknowledges all known and suspected compliance cases. This helps the auditor in documenting due diligence. So the answer is D, to confirm that all known or suspected has been disclosed. And that's the essence of written representations. So you picked A. The auditor is not shifting responsibility. Management always remains accountable for compliance. So that's what number 4 is. So finally, okay. But I think this is one of your lowest. You scored this. I think you got 40 over 100. You scored 2 over 5.
Hey, thank
God. This is one of this is one of your lowest so far in all the lectures.
No, I think I did 40 last time.
I think this is the second time now. You are doing 40. Thank you,
Janet.
It shows I'm teaching good. It shows I'm teaching
No,
good.
that's not a good sign.
It shows I'm
very confident.
You know, if people pass ICAN too much, the ICAN will be wondering whether their standard is becoming watery or low. So it's the same thing I'm applying. I'm applying ICAN standard. Yes, now. So I learned the general pass percentage of most ICAN exams is either 10 to 20%, and mostly 80% fail. So you score 40 at least.
Are you sure?
Really? Yeah, that's what some speculations say. Though we don't have that data validated by ICAN. You don't believe it, Cole? I think I do. It's not true. I think I do, because the rate at which people fail, I think I do. ICAN is. So why don't they give us the statistics then? Is the question. ACCA does. They give you the percentage, but ICAN. Okay, so that's good. So let's see in the next session, we should be able to improve. So the last question, auditor's response to suspected non-compliance. So document the issue and discuss it with management or other relevant parties. Exactly. So ISA 250 requires auditors to document non-compliance issues, discuss them with management, and if necessary, those charged with governance to determine the appropriate course of actions. Exactly. Okay, so that's a good one, 40 over 100. For section 1.
That's bad.
Now I know you are angry. Now you are going to charge, and section 2 you're going to deal with your tutor. Okay, so let's go. Let's run through the last section and we close out on chapter 2. Okay, so if the auditor identifies or suspects material areas of non-compliance by a company, these are the procedures required. Number one, you should obtain the nature of the act and the circumstances under which it has occurred. So what happened? What's the nature of the non-compliance? Under what circumstances did it happen? So for example, you're supposed to remit pension at a particular date and you are remitting it later and later and later. So what prompted you to remit it after the due date? So that's the nature. And what circumstances led to that late remittal or non-remittal? So you must understand the nature. Is it by accident or lack of knowledge or willful non-compliance? You should also evaluate the possible effect of non-compliance on the financial statements. So what's the effect in the postings in those financial statements, the timing, recognition, and all that other criteria? So you should take note of that. Also, for suspected non-compliance, you should discuss the matter with
management.
Can
you take the slide back?
If compliance is not demonstrated, also take advice, especially where management is obstinate.
Can you take the slide back, please? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I think my network went off a bit.
Yeah, so can you take it back to 2 slides back, please?
Okay. I think my network went off a bit, but I'm back. So I was talking about obtaining an understanding of what is the nature of the act.
No, the one before this one, the one before this.
Okay, so I was talking about the auditor identifying or suspects any material non-compliance in the company's transactions in the posting of the financial statement. So the procedures is supposed to carry substantially are required by the following. Number one, you should understand the nature of the act and the circumstances under which that non-compliance occurred. So I give an example of a remittance, and if it's been remitted late, why is it done that late? What led to that? Was it negligence or accident or lack of knowledge? So he needs to understand the circumstances that caused that non-compliance. And number two, evaluate the possible effect. What was the effect of that non-compliance on the financial statement? So if the company is supposed to remit 1 billion, it has not remitted to authorities, it will definitely have a material effect on the financial statements, even though it's been recognized in the books. So the effect should also be evaluated. Also, for suspected non-compliance, we are to discuss the matter with management. If compliance is not demonstrated, take legal action. So the issues of remittances or a material compliance that will affect or distort the financial statements, the auditor is to discuss with management on remediating or resolving that. If management does not do that, then he should take legal advice, get an attorney, a solicitor, discuss.
Okay. Network again. Ifeoluwa, can you hear me? Can you hear him?
This is Juliana. I can hear you. Is it Mr. Josiah's network, guys?
Yes, I think my network is a bit challenging, but I think I'm back.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now, yes.
Okay, please, apologies. I think my network today is glitching. Don't mind the network. I hope MTN should behave themselves. So I was talking about so where should I go back to? Where did you lost me in my thoughts? Where were my thoughts?
Just where you are now.
Okay, fantastic. So where there is material compliance, like I said, for example, a remittance of 1 billion, you can't just ignore it. So discuss with them, and if they're obstinate about remitting the 1 billion, then you have to take legal advice, because that is material. That could affect the auditor. It could lead to auditor's liability. So you need to take legal advice. Ask a solicitor, a barrister, to advise on such material non-compliance. Is very important. And also, if there is insufficient evidence of a suspected non-compliance, consider the impact on the audit report. This will constitute a limitation of scope, which is considered. We'll be looking at that in subsequent chapters. So where you don't have evidence enough to validate this non-compliance, then consider the impact on the audit report. So most of our audit reports are evidence-driven, and you must have sufficient and appropriate evidence. So you need to look at that in the limitation of your scope where you don't have sufficient evidence. We'll look at that in a later chapter. Also, you need to consider whether or not the non-compliance impacts other areas of the audit. So, for example, the overall risk assessment that is performed in the financial statements before the job is engaged. So we need to understand that this non-compliance, how does it affect other components of the financial statements? In posting, in recognition, in validation of the debits and credits. Any accounts that will be affected, you need to look at the impact of the non-compliance in the audit of the financial statement. Also, you need to consider how to report the non-compliance to management, to shareholders and authority. So you have to be pragmatic. You start with management. Okay, this is it. This is the issue. And if management is not taking action, you are presenting the audit report to the shareholders during the AGM. You report it to their shareholders. If their shareholders don't do anything, then you move to the authorities, FRCN, CAMA, SEC, as the case may be. You move it. So from management, you don't jump any layer from management to shareholders. Then where they don't take action, then the authorities should know. Very important. So that's the end of consideration of loss and what to do, or the action the auditor should take in event of non-compliance or suspected non-compliance by a client company. So any question so that we can run to our quiz? I can't wait. We have I on the call now. So we have J and we have I. So let's rush to our quiz. We don't have any questions, right? I came in, so you may have to guess most of the questions or the answers. So number one, what is the first step an auditor should take when they identify or suspect material non-compliance by a client company? Number one, immediately report the issue to regulatory authorities. B, obtain an understanding of the nature and circumstances of the act. C, qualify the audit report immediately. D, resign from the engagement. What is the first step an auditor should take when they identify or suspect material non-compliance by a client company? You are so fast. Oh, okay. It's Jay that spoke. Okay, Jay said B. What do you pick?
I chose B, sir.
Oh, okay, both of you B. I hope you are not copying Jill because you met her on the call.
I actually spoke. I spoke ahead of her, sir.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Number two, when an auditor suspects non-compliance but lacks sufficient evidence, what should they do? A, ignore the issue if it's not material. B, take legal advice if management cannot demonstrate compliance. C, immediately issue an adverse opinion. D, report directly to shareholders without discussing with management. Number two, when an auditor suspects non-compliance but lacks sufficient evidence, what should they do? A, ignore the issue if it's not material. B, take legal advice if management cannot demonstrate compliance. C, immediately issue an adverse opinion. D, report directly to shareholders without discussing with management. Okay. J, are you picking final answer A? Okay. I, what's your pick?
A, sir. A.
All right.
I've analyzed the question. A.
Okay. Number three, what should an auditor do if non-compliance is suspected but is insufficient evidence to confirm it? A, issue an unqualified audit report, audit opinion. B, consider the impact on the audit report due to the limitation of scope. C, report the client to law enforcement immediately. D, remove the suspected issue from the audit file to avoid complications. Number 3, what should an auditor do if non-compliance is suspected, but there's insufficient evidence to confirm it? A, confirm, issue an unqualified audit opinion. B, consider the impact. Okay. J is going for A. Consider the impact.
No, I said B.
Oh, okay. B. All right.
Please better.
Wait, so not yet. I'm still thinking about A or B.
Okay, so let me keep reading the
What
options.
should an auditor do if non-compliance is suspected, but there is insufficient? Oh, insufficient evidence to confirm it.
Exactly. Issue an unqualified audit opinion. B, consider the impact on the audit report due to the
unqualified audit opinion again.
Report the client to law enforcement immediately. Remove the suspected issue from the audit file.
I'll go with B, sir.
Okay, I is going with B. J, are you staying with B or you are going for A? J, what's your pick?
Just a second.
Okay. Still thinking and reminiscing over it.
Just a minute. I'm just looking at what is an unqualified audit opinion.
Oh no, you can't check that out. You are under exam, so you can't check. You can't check. I would seize your paper.
I'm not checking it. I'm just thinking about it.
Okay. All right. You know there's CCTV in your room, so.
Why do you think I'm not in the sitting room?
I'll still review the camera footage later. So.
Okay, it's B.
Okay, you're settling for B. Final answer.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Why should an auditor evaluate whether a non-compliance issue affects other areas of the audit? A, to determine if the issue affects overall risk assessment. B, to immediately report the issue to the tax authorities. C, to confirm the entity's corporate social responsibility compliance. D, to ensure the company does not face criminal charges. Why should an auditor evaluate whether a non-compliance issue affects? Okay, why should an auditor evaluate whether a non-compliance issue affects other areas of the audit? A, to determine if the issue affects overall risk assessment. B, to immediately report the issue to the tax authorities. C, to confirm the entity's corporate social responsibility compliance.
It's kind of
twisted.
Yes.
Okay. J is going for A. I, what's your pick?
A or C, A or C. I'm going for A, sir.
Okay, he has eliminated C. Are you sure? Final answer?
Yes, final answer, A.
Okay, so last question. To whom should an auditor consider reporting identified non-compliance? A, to those charged with governance, shareholders, or authorities as appropriate. B, only to the entity's external legal advisors. C, directly to the media to warn the public. D, to junior employees in the company for verification. To whom should an auditor consider reporting identified non-compliance? A, to those charged with governance, shareholders, or authorities as appropriate. B, only to the entity's external.
B.
Okay, I is going for A. J is going for B.
I choose B.
I, final answer, A. Are you going for final answer, A? I.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay, J, is your final answer A too?
B.
B, okay. J's final answer is B. Okay, so let's go. Judgment Day. Number 1. What is the first step an auditor should take when they identify or suspect material non-compliance by the company? B, obtain an understanding of the nature and circumstances of the act. Exactly, both got it. So before taking any further action, the auditor must first understand the nature and circumstance of the non-compliance. This helps assess its significance and potential impact on the financial statements. Exactly. Number 2, when an auditor suspects non-compliance but lacks sufficient evidence, what should they do? Oh, they've dashed me this. Julie, you are so benevolent. Even I that just came. You guys are just doing giveaway. Thank you. You guys
take the guy out.
You guys picked A. Ignore the issue if it's not material. He can't. So they didn't say whether it's material. They said what an auditor should do if he suspects non-compliance but lacks sufficient evidence. So the auditor is to take legal advice if management cannot demonstrate compliance.
Was it
That's what we said. Yes. If the auditor suspects non-compliance but cannot obtain sufficient evidence.
Can you take us back to that number 2? I don't know why I did not see it.
I got number 2 and number 3 mixed up, kind of.
So number 2.
What when an auditor suspects non-compliance but lacks sufficient evidence?
What should they do? You say you should ignore it. It's not material. You guys you can't ignore it.
You said it's not material now. Why should it's not material? Why should he bother himself?
No, but they have to comply. That's the thing. So the point is, have they complied, whether material or immaterial? But when it's material, now you have to take it more seriously. But even if it's immaterial, you must comply. So you guys dashed me this one.
Well, if it's material, what will you now do now?
So that's where question 3 comes. So that's where question 3 comes. You will see it. So whether it's immaterial or material, he has to take legal advice. You have to be compliant. Okay. So that you're supposed to remit 1 naira or 1 billion. Whether you flaunt any of those laws, is non-compliance. So 1 naira, you must comply. That is what it means. Exactly. So the auditor suspects non-compliance, but he doesn't have evidence. He should seek legal advice, ensuring compliance with professional and legal obligations so that he will not be liable. That's what it means. So you picked A. Now look at what A says. Why is it correct? It's because you said ignore the issue if it's not material. Ignoring non-compliance is unethical, irrespective of materiality. Take note. It's against auditing standards. Even if immaterial, it could indicate broader risks. So take note of that. So you cannot ignore. Yeah, you cannot ignore. I'm glad you are learning. Okay, so number 2 or number 3, you all got it, B. Now, what should an auditor do if non-compliance is suspected but there is insufficient evidence to confirm it? He should consider the impact on the audit report due to the limitation of scope. You got this. And if the auditor cannot obtain sufficient evidence to determine whether non-compliance has occurred, it may lead to a limitation of scope, which could result in a modified audit opinion. That is, you either qualify it or you issue a disclaimer of your opinion. So you got it. So in answering your question, Julie, you said if the amount is material, you report it to management. From management, you move to shareholders. If nothing is done, you move to the authorities. That's what you're supposed to do for most material misstatements or non-compliance. Okay, so number 4, why should an auditor evaluate whether a non-compliance issue affects other areas of the audit? Yeah, so you both got it. A, to determine if the issue affects overall risk assessment. Yes, so non-compliance may indicate broader risks that could impact the financial statements, internal control, and overall audit strategy. The auditor must reassess risk levels accordingly. Okay, so finally, to whom should an auditor consider reporting identified non-compliance? Julie failed this. She said B. I got it. She said A. So the correct answer is A. To those charged with governance, shareholders, and authorities. Exactly. It's not B. Only to the entities, external legal advisors. Legal advisors may be consulted, but they are not the primary recipients of the auditor's report. So she picked up, Jay picked up to 60% this time around. Okay. So she's doing good. And I that just came safe has scored 4/5, but I'm glad nobody still scored 100 over 100. I'm still teaching good. Okay, so this makes sense. I was close. Yeah, close, but you shouldn't do that. Don't do that to me. I begged Julia. She was out from the beginning to deal with me. Maybe that is why she's not getting the 100. She was out to get the 100.
I'll still adjust.
Abby. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that will be the end of chapter 2. And we are just 8:45. We have closed out on chapter 2. So let's run through chapter 3 very, very quickly.